It's Cheese Festival Day in Whizland, which means one thing. The annual Great Cheese Chase is about to begin. Last year, our hero, the quick-witted mouse Pip, came oh so close to stealing the prize cheese, the moonmelt brie, only to be thwarted at the last second by the big bad cat, Mino. But this year, Pip is determined to get his paws on that cheesy goodness no matter what. And he's got a brand new plan that just might work. Our story begins with the townsfolk of Whizland preparing for the festival. There are games, prizes, and most importantly, tons of cheese. But the main attraction is the legendary moonmelt brie, a wheel of cheese so delicious it's guarded day and night inside the Grand Cheese Dome. Every year, the fastest mouse makes a mad dash for the dome and tries to steal a bite of the moonmelt brie. And every year, the big bad cat Mino thwarts their plans. But this year is different. You see, while everyone's attention is focused on the Grand Cheese Dome, there's another cheese structure in town that's just as tempting. A massive cheese sculpture of a sleeping kitten made entirely of cheddar cheese. Now, cheddar cheese is strong stuff. Not only is it nearly impossible to cut through, but it's also very dense and heavy. So when the foolish yet adorable mice try to steal it, they end up trapped inside and unable to escape. And who happens to notice this? None other than Pip. He knows exactly how to exploit this situation, and devises a plan to sneak into the Grand Cheese Dome unnoticed. As everyone's focused on the cheese sculpture, Pip gathers his trusty friends, a trio of raccoons with names that rhyme: Blab, Dab, and Gab. They head over to the cheese sculpture and Pip explains his plan. They need to distract everyone long enough for him to sneak into the Grand Cheese Dome and nab a bite of the moonmelt brie. So the rascals get to work, rigging up a giant slingshot and launching themselves towards the sleeping cheddar kitty. The plan is simple. Make the statue fall, and everybody will panic. Then, while everyone's distracted, Pip will sneak into the Grand Cheese Dome. But they need something big to trigger the trap. And what's bigger and more distracting than a giant rubber chicken? As the crowd gathers around the base of the statue, Pip pulls on the slingshot, aiming for the nose of the cheddar kitty. But just as he's about to release it, the ground shakes, and a booming voice echoes through the plaza. Could it be? Is the dreaded dog from Part 1 back for revenge? But no, it's just Mino in disguise, ready to foil Pip's plans once again. As Mino approaches the statue, Pip releases the giant rubber chicken, knocking the hat right off the cat's head. Everyone cheers and laughs, giving Pip the opening he needs. While everyone's focused on Mino, Pip slips past them unnoticed and scurries into the Grand Cheese Dome. Inside, the moonmelt brie is all he can think about. It's covered in a protective force field and surrounded by lasers. But Pip doesn't care. He's too busy drooling over its cheesy goodness. But then he hears a familiar voice. Trying to steal the moonmelt brie again, are we? Startled, Pip looks around and sees none other than Mino. Perched atop a nearby shelf, he leaps down and begins chasing after Pip, who runs for his life. The two race through a maze of tunnels and rooms filled with even more cheese. There's a giant cheese volcano, a cheese geyser, and even a room full of cheese trampolines. But Mino is hot on Pip's tail, leaping over obstacles in his way, and refusing to give up the chase. Soon the two reach the final stretch. Pip can see the prize moonmelt brie just beyond the finish line, but Mino is right behind him. The cat swats at Pip with his paw, but the little mouse jumps over it and dives headfirst towards the coveted cheese. He reaches out his paw, touches the moonmelt brie, and then freezes. You see, according to the rules of the Great Cheese Chase, touching the moonmelt brie makes it disappear. Whoever catches it wins it. And it seems like Pip is the winner this time. But wait a minute. Where's Mino? Did he give up? No way. Mino appears on the other side of the finish line and lunges for the cheese, but it's too late. The moonmelt brie is gone, and with it, Pip's luck. Determined to finally catch the little mouse, Mino gives chase. He leaps across the room and crashes through the window, landing on top of a cheese blimp. He'd planned on taking the Blimp to the festival, but now it looks like he'll have to use it for an impromptu flying fortress. Meanwhile, Pip has gotten away and is relaxing in his tree hollow, savoring the sweet taste of victory. But he won't be able to enjoy it for long because soon enough, Mino will come crashing through the roof. Spotting a pair of goggles and determined expression, the cat has a plan to catch Pip once and for all. He's gonna use his latest invention, the Cheddar Cannon 3000, to shoot himself into the sky and capture the little mouse. First, he loads up the cannon with a giant wheel of cheddar cheese and pulls on some levers. The device whirs and clanks as gears grind against each other. And then, with a mighty roar, the cannon fires and sends Mino rocketing upwards. He flies straight towards Pip's tree hollow, determined to crush the little mouse under his mighty paws. But Pip is prepared. He opens up a trap door and drops a bowling ball onto the cat's head. Startled, Mino loses control and crash lands in a nearby tree. This gives Pip the chance to escape on his flying cheese skateboard. The two race through the streets of Whizland, dodging houses and lampposts as they go. Soon they reach the river that flows through town, but Pip isn't worried. He's got a special trick up his sleeve. He pulls on a lever on his skateboard, causing two wheels to pop off and transform into propellers. With a mighty roar, the skateboard takes off, sending Pip soaring above the river. But he won't be able to enjoy his aerial victory for long because soon enough, the cheddar cannon fires again, blasting off another chunk of cheddar cheese. Pip looks around and sees that it's heading straight for his skateboard. He leaps off just in the nick of time as the cheese smashes into his board, causing it to spin out of control and crash into a haystack. But Pip's not done yet. He pulls out a grappling hook and swings towards Mino, who's still stuck in the tree. The cat swats at him with his paw, but Pip dodges it and swings around to the other side. He lets go of the rope and lands on top of Mino's head, then dives into the cat's collar and pulls out a squeaky toy. Enraged, Mino tries to shake Pip off, but the little mouse is persistent. He keeps pulling on the toy, driving the cat up the tree and into the ultimate trap. You see, Pip had rigged up a pulley system that drops a giant net over Mino, trapping him inside. Finally, the cat is too stunned to move. Pip jumps down and scurries over to the fence surrounding the tree. He looks down at the trapped cat and triumphantly raises his paws in the air. But before he can celebrate, the cheddar cannon fires one last time, blasting off a final chunk of cheddar cheese. Pip looks around and sees that it's heading straight for him. Can he dodge it in time, or is this the end of the great cheese chase? To find out, stay tuned for part 3 of Cheese Chasers. Hey, Cheese Chasers. Thanks for joining us on this cheese-tastic adventure. We hope you had a blast watching part 2. Now it's time to get cheesy with us. How would you use the Cheddar Cannon 3000 if you had one? Tell us in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on our latest animations. Catch you next time.